It's 4 a.m. in Manchester, 1890. The streets are black, and a woman is walking down a row of brick houses with a long bamboo pole. She stops at a window, taps it, tap, 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 until a face appears in the glass. Then she moves to the next house. She is not a burglar. She is not lost. She is doing her job. Her name might be Mary Smith. She charged a few pence a week, and her entire profession was this: waking people up before the alarm clock existed. They called her a knocker-upper. And for 100 years, it was a real career. Whole families did it. Some used pea shooters to fire dried peas at upstairs windows. It was respectable work. It fed children. And then, one day, it simply stopped existing. Not because anyone failed, because a cheap clock with a bell on top arrived in the home. Mary's skill didn't get worse. The world just stopped needing it. And here's the thing about jobs like Mary's. They don't disappear quietly, one at a time. They go in waves. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. A specific job appears. People build a life around it. They get good. They get proud. They train their kids in it. Then a machine or a wire or a line of code shows up, and the title vanishes. Not the people, the title. Shells, coins, lamplighters, switchboards. Same story, over and over. This is the history of work, and it's speeding up. Go back to that same era. When the sun went down in London, someone had to climb a ladder to every gas lamp on every street, light it by hand, then come back at dawn to put it out. They were called lamplighters. In a city like London, there were thousands of them. It was a trusted job. Children waited at the window to watch the lamplighter come. Then, around the turn of the century, the electric streetlight arrived. One switch, a whole city lit at once, and the lamplighters were gone inside a generation. The skill, a steady hand, a good ladder, knowing every street in the dark, expired overnight. Now jump forward to a job that felt impossibly modern at the time, the telephone switchboard operator. For most of the 20th century, you could not call anyone directly. You picked up the phone and a human being answered, almost always a young woman. She sat at a wall of holes and cables. You said a name. She physically plugged a wire into a socket to connect your voice to theirs. By the 1950s, there were hundreds of thousands of them in America alone. It was the largest employer of women in the country for years. Fast, skilled, social work. And then automatic switching, a machine that could route the call itself. In 1983, a researcher in Indiana published a study on what happened to those women after the switchboards closed. The job didn't fade gently. In some towns, hundreds of operators were let go in a single day, a skill thousands had mastered, worthless by lunchtime. But the strangest example isn't a woman with a pole or a wire or a ladder. It's a job whose name we kept and gave to a machine, the computer. Before it was a device, a computer was a person, usually a woman. Her job was to compute, to sit and do mathematics by hand for hours. In the 1940s, at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, rooms full of human computers calculated rocket trajectories with pencils. At NASA, Katherine Johnson did the math that put astronauts into orbit. John Glenn, before his 1962 flight, reportedly refused to trust the electronic machine until Katherine had checked its numbers herself. She was the computer he trusted. And then the electronic computer got faster, cheaper, and the title computer stopped meaning a person at all. It became the box on your desk. The job didn't just vanish, it was eaten by the thing that replaced it, name and all. So look at the pattern now. Knocker-upper, lamplighter, switchboard operator, human computer. Every one of them was a real, respected job. Every one of them felt permanent to the people inside it, and every one of them ended, not with a warning, but with an invention. But here's the part that matters. Watch what actually happened to the people, because this is where the story turns. The knocker-uppers didn't all starve. Many became factory workers, shopkeepers, something new. The switchboard operators didn't vanish with their switchboards. Many of those women moved into the offices the telephone helped create. Katherine Johnson didn't lose to the computer. She learned to program it. She spent the rest of her career writing the code that ran on the machine that replaced her math. She didn't fight the wave, she rode it. And that is the one thing that survives every single one of these collapses. Not the title, not the specific skill, the person who could learn the next thing. Now here's what we usually get wrong. We think the lesson of these stories is pick a safer job, a job that won't disappear. But there is no such job. The economist Carl Frey and his colleague Michael Osborne at Oxford in 2013 estimated that 47% of U.S. jobs were at high risk of automation in the coming decades. People argue about the exact number. They always do. But notice, that's not a list of bad jobs. It's a list of titles. And the people debating which title is safe are asking Mary's question, how do I stay a knocker-upper forever? You can't. The clock is always coming. The waves used to take 100 years. Lamplighters had decades. Switchboard operators a working lifetime. Now the gap between waves is shrinking. A skill that was rare and valuable in 2015 can be ordinary by 2025. A whole category of work can shift in the time it takes to finish a degree built around it. This is the uncomfortable truth underneath all of it. You cannot train for a title that won't exist when you arrive. You can only train for the thing the survivors all had, the ability to look at something unfamiliar and figure it out. The knocker-upper who became a shopkeeper had it. The operator who became an office worker had it. Katherine Johnson, learning to program the machine that replaced her, had it. None of them were trained for the world they ended up in. That world didn't exist yet. They were trained, somewhere along the way, to learn. So think about the title you're chasing right now, the one on the job posting, the one your course is named after, the one you're telling people you'll become. There's a real chance it's already changing. That by the time you arrive, the work will have a different shape, a different name, a different tool bolted to the front of it. That's not a reason to despair. It's just the oldest pattern in the history of work, arriving on schedule. Every generation has watched a job they thought was permanent dissolve into history. And every generation, the same people came out the other side. Not the ones with the safest title, but the ones who could learn the next one. It's 4 a.m. in Manchester. A woman taps a window with a bamboo pole. She is the best in the city at a job that will not exist in 20 years. The question was never whether her work would end. It was always whether she could learn what came after the tapping stopped. And that question hasn't changed in 130 years. It's just being asked right now about you. Sign up for free at ewants.com.